I'm Charlie Bright of Gold Derby, and today I'm talking with Molly Shannon, who continues to play the Wonder Mother, Pat Dubeck, on Max's original series, The Other Two. First thing I wanted to ask you about this is, you've been playing Pat now for 3 seasons,
Mm-hmm.
and what have you discovered about Pat, specifically in this third season, that you hadn't seen with her character before?
I think that Pat is different this season. She has more of an edge to her. She's feistier. She actually speaks in a different way. She's a little she's come into her power, and she has alien level fame this season, and she's really kind of owning it. And so you see her having just almost, she just seems dirtier, funnier, sharper, wittier. Just she's just like calling it like it is. And so I think she's changed. She's not, when we first saw her in season 1, she was from Ohio, more innocent and naive. It was, she didn't know anything about show business, and now you see she's gotten a lot savvier, and she's sharp. She understands show business more. She's grown.
Do you think part of that has to do with the fact that now Chase is who is brilliantly played by Case Walker, who I don't think gets enough recognition.
Yeah.
The fact that he's now an adult, and also, but even before that, was being managed by his team. So now she's able to come more into her own and discover her own power and her own abilities.
Mm-hmm. Yes, because before that, she was just really, nurturing his career, and it was all about her. But now she has her own thing with her TV show and her network. And so she's been able to focus more on herself. Her kids are older. It's her whole chapter 2. She has a whole new romance. So yeah, you see her really coming into her own. But what's so great is she always goes back to, like, no, but I don't want to be out of touch with my family. Like, it doesn't matter how much money or fame or power when she loses touch with her family and what's going on, she doesn't like it. So she always wants to go back to that. Like the Wizard of Oz, like she wants to go back home.
Back home, yeah.
Yeah.
It, Pat is such and I like how is such a lovable character, but I like how you brought up, these complexities with her, that we see her being much more shrewd in how she approaches so many things with this season, now that she is now basically like a mogul, essentially.
Mm-hmm.
But is there a part of Pat that frustrates you? And I'm not saying, like, is there a part that's like bad, but is there a part that's like you wish that she could work on something?
Well, yes, I think she has to be better she's very like a people pleaser. She'll really want to say no, but she'll say, well, I guess if that's what you really think would be better, I guess, okay, yeah. But really she's trying to say no. It's like she needs to learn that no is a complete sentence, because she's not fully taking care of herself. She's just like, she's gotten into a bind, and it's just too much, and her life is out of balance. So I think she has to learn how to have better boundaries and not just please everyone.
One of the interesting things that we've seen with this season is, now that Pat is not only famous but very wealthy because of the success of her network, she can't go into public the same way, and this required some very fun prosthetics on your end. And I'm curious as to what was it like getting into the prosthetics that we see Pat wearing, and had you ever had anything like that, maybe outside of Saturday Night Live, been a part of something like that in your career?
Never in my life, Charles. I mean, I have done prosthetic makeup, but I remained on the set. Like, I did it for Saturday Night Live, of course, How the Grinch Stole Christmas. I played Betty Lou Who, so I had very extensive prosthetics. But we were on the lot at Universal. We were shooting in Brooklyn, and so Louis from Saturday Night Live, Zakarian, who's amazing, and wait, I want to list the other guy too. He was, hold on one second, I always like to give, they are such brilliant makeup artists that I always want to get the names correct. Hold on one second. So Jason also did it, and Louis, and they are just so talented. but basically, I think we only did 2 or 3 days of old age makeup, and it takes about 2 hours. And but during my lunch break, I got to walk around Brooklyn in the prosthetic makeup. And I only had like an hour lunch break, and I just thought, oh, I hope I bump into somebody I know. And I called my niece, I FaceTimed my niece, and she was laughing so hard because she couldn't believe how different I looked. But I was like, oh, I wish I had time to like tell someone to come meet me at a coffee shop because I could trick them, you know? I was like, oh, the games I could play. So it was really surreal to walk around like that as, you know, in this disguised makeup. I went and got a sandwich at a butcher shop and they were very rude to me. And it was just like in the TV show, I was like, this guy making sandwiches is so rude. I was like, it's my turn. Whereas I'm used to better treatment. You know, I think I was like, is this because I'm so much older looking, or you know, what is this? But anyhow, um, it was a blast. And Ken Marino didn't recognize me too. He forgot that I was going to be in prosthetics. And one day I saw him, I got the makeup done, and we were about to go shoot the scene in the bar where he doesn't realize it's me, but he forgot that I was in prosthetics. So I saw him and I forgot I was in prosthetics, and I waved to him thinking I'm just myself. And he looked at me like I was some weird fan. And then I was like, God, Ken's in such a weird mood. So I was kind of following, following behind him. And I said, Ken, and he was like, he just like looked away and was talking to an AD. And I was like, he must be, he's acting so rude. And then I went into the set and I was sitting there, and then he came in and he was like, there's that weird lady again. Like, who is that? And then I spoke and he was like, oh my gosh, it's Molly. And we burst out laughing. So there were just endless shenanigans that day. It was so fun. I can't tell you how fun it was. I should have arranged to meet somebody for lunch and not, you know, and just surprise them, you know.
Yeah.
It's
Well,
like Halloween. It's the most fun.
I mean, so you said you FaceTimed with your niece while you had the makeup on. What did she like think that someone had stolen your phone for a moment there when you answered?
No, I think she knew. My niece Shannon, she was in hysterics. She thought it was so funny. And then I also called my husband too, and he was like, oh my God. I just I I had as much fun, Charlie, as I could. I was like, what else could I do? You know, like, during my lunch break. It was the most surreal experience because I've never, as I said, I've had makeup on before in movies, but I never had the freedom to go out and walk around the streets in the makeup during my lunch break. I wasn't able to do that on SNL, obviously, or on The Grinch because we were confined in working in the Universal lot.
You know, one of
Yeah.
the other things that's so, and we were talking about this also earlier about how the other two works is, you know, the way that they satirize things within showbiz, and it seems like it's to an exaggerated degree, but because you know showbiz is such an insane field, you know, to
Yeah.
begin with, it's not that far off. And what I'm curious about is, have any of the showbiz situations that have been satirized on the other two been things that have happened to you or that you've dealt with in real life?
Let me think here. Well, in real life, when I was shooting last season, I remember Chris Kelly would come up and say, okay, in this scene, Pat, the character, is exhausted. She's been working all day, 16-hour day, and she has to go to get on a red eye to fly back to the, you know, back. And I was like, oh yeah, that's exactly like my life right now. Like we were always laughing because he would describe what the character was going through. And I'm like, oh, that's so similar to exactly what I have to do later tonight. So it was always kind of similar. And I think that Chris Kelly and Sarah Schneider are very good at writing for people. Like they'll write, you know, they'll kind of know how I talk and what I do, and they'll put that into the character. And not all writers know how to do that, but I think Chris is always somebody, and this goes back to the days when he was casting other people, where if somebody came in that maybe wasn't necessarily what he was thinking of for the part, if the person was good enough, he would write the part around the person that he likes. Like, I like that. I could redo it because this person's so good. So I think that he's able to use parts of people's personalities and put them into the character.
To diverge to another thing, I mean, uh this earlier this year, we got to see you back in sort of like how most of us first came to know you. We got to see you return to Saturday Night Live to host. I know it was your second time hosting.
Yeah.
What was it like to return to SNL to host again? Is it sort of like, how they say some things are like riding a bike, where once you get into it, you're just back into that rhythm of things?
It felt exactly that way, Charlie. It's like a muscle that I hadn't used for a while that you forget about. But after I did it, after I hosted, I felt like, oh, I want to do it again. I really missed it. And of course, it was just so wonderful to work with Lorne Michaels. And he just guided me through the whole process, like, do this, do that. I just, it was fantastic. And then the cast is so good now. And so it was just, and then there's a lot of people who I knew from before who are still there, like Wally and just Jenna and just so Donna and wardrobe. And so I saw all my old pals, and it feels like going home, kind of. It felt great. I miss it so much. And I had such a good time. And my husband came, and my kids had never seen the show live. They've never seen me perform live like that. So my son Stella and Nolan were in the audience, and that was the most thrilling, just because when I was on the show years ago, that was before I had children. So it was so special having them see me. But it's like a real it's hard. It's like a marathon. You do pre-tapes, like if you're doing a pre-film bit, sometimes you're up Friday night till like 3 o'clock in the morning shooting some pre-tape. And then, so it's really fast moving. I have so much respect for hosts because it's definitely hard. It's a marathon, I would say.
I've always, the one thing that I was curious. So this is just a fun little hypothetical I wanted to ask you.
Yeah.
If you could be in a sketch with any SNL performer from before you were a cast member, who would that be? Or maybe a couple of them. Who would they be?
Oh, from before I was a cast member, probably like Gilda Radner, Bill Murray. I grew up watching, Lisa Loubner, and so I loved those sketches. Lorraine Newman. I guess I did get to work with Phil Hartman, but I would say Gilda, Bill, Lorraine. That would be amazing. That was who I grew up with. So I would be on babysitting jobs and just like, oh wow, this is so funny. So I can't believe I wound up on the show. It's just like a dream come true.
That's how my mom would tell me about how she would watch those episodes, and then I
Yeah.
was raised on those episodes on VHS, actually, so I know exactly what you're talking about there.
Yeah, it's wild. It's like each generation has their people that they grew up with watching, and so it's just so cool. And it was so great getting to show my kids, and my kids brought their friends how it works. And my son's friend was just saying, wow, that was so cool, the way, how fast it is. And just, you can't believe it when you get to see it live, how it's a live show. You're being counted down, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go. It's the most exhilarating. Just, I can't even describe it. It's my all-time favorite. And just getting to be there. Lorne Michaels is an absolute legend. And I just love getting to be there with him. And it's just, Charlie, I missed it so much. I was like, I miss it. I love this show. I hope I get to go back. I had the best time.
Well, I really hope we get to see you back there again. It's always so great to see you there.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
Well, Molly, thank you so much for joining us. This has been wonderful, and we wish you all the best over this upcoming Emmy season. And
Thank
to all of our viewers, please like this video, subscribe, and don't forget to keep on going to Gold Derby to make your Emmy predictions in advance of nominations coming out on July 12th. Thanks so much, Molly.
Okay, bye, Charlie. So good to see you. Thank you so much.